For years, JavaScript was pretty much confined to the web browser, right? It was the language that made our websites interactive. But what if you could take that same language and use it to build the entire backend of an application? Well, that's exactly the power of Node.js. It's the tech that basically unleashed JavaScript, letting it break free from the browser to build incredibly fast and scalable servers. On our roadmap today, we're going to map out exactly how it works. So our journey through Node.js is going to cover 6 key checkpoints. First, we'll talk about how JavaScript even left the browser in the first place. Then, we'll dive into the non-blocking architecture. That's the secret sauce that makes nodes so fast. After that, we'll check out its built-in tools, the absolutely massive NPM ecosystem, how to build with Express.js, and finally, we'll wrap up with the full-stack advantage that just brings it all together. All right, our first checkpoint is a huge shift in thinking. For the longest time, JavaScript's home was the browser, and that was it. Node.js completely changed the game by creating a brand new environment where JavaScript can run on a server, a place it was never, ever designed to go. And this slide really nails the key difference. You see, in the browser, JavaScript's whole job is to mess with what the user sees, the DOM, the window object, all that visual stuff. In Node.js, none of that exists. Instead, Node gives JavaScript a whole new set of server-side superpowers, like being able to directly access the computer's file system and the operating system. This is what lets it actually build a backend. Okay, we've now reached a really crucial checkpoint on our map, the non-blocking, event-driven architecture. This is the engine under the hood. It's the secret to Node.js's incredible speed and its ability to scale up. So this is the central problem that traditional servers have always struggled with. Think about it. If one user's request takes a long time, like a big database query, every other user is just stuck waiting in line. Node.js was specifically built to completely get rid of that bottleneck. This analogy on this slide is just perfect. A traditional blocking server is like having one waiter per table. They take an order, go to the kitchen, wait for the food, serve it, and only then do they move on to the next table. It's slow. Node.js, on the other hand, is like one super efficient waiter for the entire restaurant. They take everyone's order at once, give them all to the kitchen, and then bring out dishes as soon as they're ready. The key is that waiter never just stands around waiting. It's always moving, always executing the next task. So what's the magic behind this super efficient waiter? It's something called the event loop. The best way to think about it is like an air traffic controller for Node.js. It's constantly watching, directing traffic, checking for new tasks to start, and finish tasks that are ready to be processed. Let's just trace the flow here on this slide. A request comes in to read a file from the disk, which can be slow. Now, instead of just waiting around, Node.js offloads that slow operation to the system and immediately moves on to the next request from another user. It doesn't wait. When the file is finally ready, a special function called a callback is placed in a queue. As soon as the main process is free, the event loop grabs that callback and executes it, sending the file's content back to the original user. The key takeaway? Nobody else was blocked or had to wait while that file was being read. And this quote from the official documentation just sums it up perfectly, because nothing ever blocks the main thread. Building systems that can scale to handle tons of users becomes incredibly straightforward in Node.js. This whole architecture is what makes it so perfect for real-time applications, like chat apps, live streaming services, and online games. Okay, so we get the theory. It has a super efficient engine. But what tools does it actually give us to work with? Let's place Node's core toolkit on our roadmap and see what comes included right out of the box. Well, Node comes with a pretty powerful standard library of built-in modules. You've got the HTTP module, which lets you create a web server from scratch, the FS module, which stands for file system, lets you read and write files, and you've got other helpful modules like OS and Path that give you tools to interact with the computer itself. And believe it or not, with just that built-in HTTP module, you can spin up a simple web server in just a few lines of code. This is really the fundamental building block for any web application in Node. It's what handles all the incoming requests and sends back responses. The built-in modules are great, but Node's true strength really lies in its community. So let's move to the next checkpoint on our journey, the absolutely vast NPM ecosystem. I mean, think about it. If you need a specific piece of functionality for your app, let's say to handle dates or make network requests, there's a really good chance someone has already built it, tested it, and shared it with the world. So why would you reinvent the wheel? And that's exactly the problem that NPM solves. NPM, or the Node Package Manager, is the world's largest software registry. It's basically a massive library of open-source code packages that you can pull into your project with a single command. Every single Node project uses a file called package.json. You can think of this file as the project's recipe. It lists all the external packages or dependencies that your project needs. You just run a command, npm install, and it reads that file, downloads all the packages into a folder called node_modules, and makes them ready for you to use in your code. It's that simple. Okay, so now we know how to build a basic server and how to bring in community packages to add functionality. The next logical checkpoint on any Node developer's path is learning a web framework, and the most popular one by far is Express.js. If you just use the basic HTTP module that comes with Node, handling different pages like a home page, an about page, a contact page, it requires this messy block of if statements just to check the URL of every single request. As you can imagine, this gets out of control really fast. Now look at this. Express cleans this whole mess up. It gives you these simple declarative methods like app_get to handle requests for specific URLs. It just makes the code so much shorter, cleaner, and way easier to read and maintain. The key insight here is that Express abstracts away all of that tedious, low-level work. It simplifies how you handle routes. It introduces this really powerful concept of middleware, which are just functions that can process requests in a pipeline, and it makes common tasks trivial. This lets you focus on building your application's features, not writing the same boilerplate code over and over again. All right, let's move to our final checkpoint and zoom out to see the big picture, the truly revolutionary impact that Node.js has had on full-stack web development. The before and after here is just so striking. Before Node.js, web development pretty much required you to know at least 2 different languages, JavaScript for the front end, and then something else like Python, Ruby, or PHP for the back end. Node.js completely unified the stack. Now, you can use JavaScript for everything. And this one-language approach has some huge advantages. Developers can now share code, like validation logic, between the front end and the back end. Teams are more unified because everyone's speaking the same language. And the whole development process is just faster because there's less mental overhead from switching between different languages and syntax. Plus, you get to leverage the power of JavaScript and that massive NPM ecosystem across your entire application. So Node.js took JavaScript from being a humble browser scripting language and turned it into a full-stack powerhouse. It completely unlocked the language's true potential. So the only question left is, now that JavaScript can run anywhere, what will you build with it? This is Developer Roadmaps. Map your path, build your career.